Hi, and welcome to the Word of the Week. The Word of the Week is endurance. Now, over the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about the idea of how to build a firm foundation. We've covered strength, we've covered flexibility. Endurance, now that's a real good subject. You see, a lot of people develop the strength and the flexibility, but without endurance, they can't make it to the end. You see, no game, no championship is won at the beginning. Right? It's at the end of the season. It's at the end of the game. And the teams that do the best, the athletes that do the best, the performers that do the best are the ones that when everyone else starts to go this way, they keep going this way. All right, so we need to really focus on developing our endurance, our ability to withstand and to keep moving forward. When I was competing in martial arts competitions, that was one of my important tools in my training toolbox. It was the endurance training. And I came up with a really kind of crazy way of doing this. Most people would think, oh, you do endurance training by doing running and all that sort of stuff and all the cardiovascular stuff. No, my endurance training was definitely more specific to what I was doing. See, sometimes I would have to do up to 14 events over the course of a weekend. That's a lot of work. And it's physically as well as mentally demanding. So what I would do is at the end of my training days, which were often 8 to 10 hours as they were, at the end I would go through every event that I would do, back to back to back to back, no breaks. Now why would I do that? Because I knew that if I could do that at the end of a training day, that I could do everything with no breaks, I would never have to do that in competition, but I knew that I could do it. So when those events that would happen simultaneously, which was quite common actually, where I would have to go from one end of the competition arena to the other end to do two different types of events, I wasn't frustrated. I wasn't confused. My body and my mind were used to it. I was able to maintain that. And at the end of the weekend, when a lot of my fellow competitors are starting to go this way, mentally and physically, they're getting drained, they can't do their best, I was feeling like I was still in my peak. Not because I wasn't giving it my best, but because in my training, I demanded more of myself than I knew I would ever be asked to do. See, that creates a different perspective and your endurance will increase. Now, I've become a big student of success over the past few years. And I can tell you this from my martial arts perspective and from my personal life and from everything that I've read. Everyone that has made any kind of significant contribution, who has had any kind of significant success, will tell you that they have gone through a point where they doubted, where they hit the wall, where they felt they couldn't go any further. And each of those persons, each of them has decided that they were going to do one more action. They were going to take one more step, that they were not going to give up at that moment. And that's when they had their biggest breakthrough. Now, for every success story that you hear where they took that last step, they did that last action, and they got that breakthrough, there are thousands of other stories of people that you'll never hear because they didn't take the step. They gave up. And that dream was maybe just another step or two away from them. But at that moment, when they had that crucial decision to make, do I keep going forward or do I give up? They gave up. Are there times when you need to do that? Absolutely. But if it's because you feel you can't do any more, my philosophy is try to do one more. Because if you can do one more, then that means you really didn't do everything that you possibly could have done. Right? There's nothing wrong with giving up when you don't want to do it anymore or you can't do it anymore. But understand the difference between those two, because it's our confusion over that that a lot of times creates the bad feelings that we have about ourselves and about our situations. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this week's lesson, and I hope that you really think about this, and most importantly, I hope that you think about and decide to take one action that's going to help to increase your endurance, your perseverance, your strength of will. And we'll see you next week.